There's a lot that goes into approval of vaccines, whether for emergency use or for licensure. In this case, it's emergency use. So based on the trainings that we got, and of course our own routine regulatory activities, we developed guidance. This is one of the guidances that we have developed since the beginning of the pandemic. Whether it's guidance to do face masking, or to regulate face mask or diagnostics, this is one of the guidances that we had, the preparedness for vaccines. How do we approve vaccines? Vaccine, of course, is a drug, and usually, if it is not a pandemic situation, the manufacturer brings the formulation or the package to us. But in case of COVID-19 vaccines, there are 3 mechanisms that we use to approve a vaccine. We use the emergency use authorization mechanism, which is what we are using now. And even that, we can do it using what is called reliance, meaning that regulatory agencies that are more matured than NAFDAC, for example, will have approved the vaccine, like UK, FDA, US FDA. And the approval of a vaccine is a very, very stringent academic exercise. You have to know your science before you sit down and contribute towards approving or assessing the dossier or the package, because it involves physics, chemistry, mathematics, of course, English, biotechnology, informatics. All these professionals or disciplines are brought together to start looking at the application package. Let me just give an example of COVID vaccine. It is the AstraZeneca vaccine. It is a viral vector-based vaccine, but it has other things inside it. Will the other things that are inside it, will it affect the protein itself or the biological? These are the things that we have to put into perspective. So what we then did for our own COVID vaccine processing is to rely on what America or UK did. We went, as soon as they finished the assessment, we went on their website and downloaded the assessment report before we got our own application package, which is called the dossier, from the manufacturer. We went through it again. There are 4 or 5 directorates that came together in NAFDAC to ensure that whatever they reported or assessed, we understand, but peculiarities. What are the things that may be peculiar to our own client, to sub-Saharan Africa? Because most of the phase 1, 2, 3 clinical trials that were done were not done in sub-Saharan Africa. And the data could be the same when we start looking at our own monitoring or safety monitoring, but they may not. So we we noted all this. So when we now got our dossier, the first one, of course, is the AstraZeneca. Our vaccine committee in NAFDAC spent hours looking at the dossier relative to what we have already learned about that particular dossier. And the first thing is quality. What is the quality of this vaccine? The processing, the validation of that processing. There are many variables that go into formulation or into processing. Are the variables adding up in terms of the product? The next thing is the safety. What are the safety issues that were observed during phases 1, 2, and 3? Then efficacy. For example, Pfizer-BioNTech is about 95% efficacious. Moderna about the same. Sputnik about 91%. AstraZeneca about 70%. So we look at all this and then depend on or rely on what others did. That was the basis for approving AstraZeneca. We have other vaccines, other doses that we are looking at right now, Pfizer, BioNTech, Sputnik, and we are doing the same justice to the different doses. When we approved, we started talking with Serum Institute of India to ensure that all the things that we needed once the vaccines get here, we have. We are going to do we are doing track and trace, because falsified vaccines are already in the global market, falsified COVID vaccines. So what we did, and we have been training for this for about 2.5 years in NAFDAC, traceability is a GS1, is a global standard-driven track and trace to make sure that there is no infiltration of substandard vaccines in the supply chain. When the AstraZeneca vaccine arrived 2 days ago, our port inspection had to check it in. This is our routine, and we use a software called PIDCAMS that was developed by one of our staff. But it is not just the port inspection checking in. Then we have to scan each of the boxes. But before we did the scanning, we requested for what is called master data from Serum Institute, so that we know that this batch 1 or batch 2, batch 3, if it goes to local government 1, 2, 3, we can trace from the airport, the cold store of MPHCDA, we can trace that vaccine to the patient. So we are using track and trace, and then NAFDAC is the Center for Pharmacovigilance in Nigeria. What is pharmacovigilance? It's safety monitoring of any medicine we take. But we were also preparing for this time, because before we used to use the yellow form to fill side effects, adverse reactions, but now we have what is called Med Safety App. It is an app that more than 50 million people can download free. If you go to Google Store or App Store, you can download it. Med Safety App. Once you download it, it will take you through the steps. So it is for healthcare workers and educated consumers. So if you get the vaccine next week, for example, you have the Med Safety app, you will enter your name, and of course, first of all, it is customized for Nigeria. There are many countries that use it. Nigeria is one of them. You click Nigeria, and it will take you through how to register. So if you have fever or soreness in your arm or whatever, you put it down there. And it will automatically be transferred to us, NAFDAC, and then we will gather that information. It will go to Uppsala, Sweden. Why is this so important? It is important because, first, this has not been done, this COVID vaccine has not been used in a large population of sub-Saharan Africans. Pfizer has had 10% of African Americans in their phase 3 clinical trials. So it is important to see the uniqueness of our own response to the vaccine. So we're going to be using the Med Safety app. We're going to be doing it. We're going to be presenting it on NAFDAC and Your Health. We are putting it on different platforms. Many healthcare workers are being trained as we speak. So that is part of what we're going to be doing. Track and trace and pharmacovigilance. And with pharmacovigilance, it is the three of us, NCDC, Primary Health, and NAFDAC. It is a collaborative thing. And my brother here, my brother Dr. Chikwe, is going to talk about the variants. We have to do abridged clinical trials to know that, okay, the variants from UK they don't have the impact or efficacy on AstraZeneca. We have to test it. We have to check it. So that is part of the abridged studies that we're going to be doing together. Thank you very much.